So there's a video game called The Last of Us, a game I love and play all the time until my PlayStation died on me recently. And then there's a sequel, Last of Us 2. Great games. Dash says, yeah, that came out after they advanced, very early. Yes, definitely. Um, so there's this series of games called Last of Us, The Last of Us 1 and 2. And great games. I've played both of them a ridiculous amount of times. Love those games. It takes place in a zombie apocalypse. And there's a story of basically a guy and his adopted daughter, let's call it, as I'm trying to do this quickly. In the first game, he meets this young lady. He's literally hired to save this young lady and do certain things, but they develop a great bond to become like a father-daughter. So much so that he does some wild, crazy shit at the end of the first game. And how I word this on YouTube, deletes an entire hospital staff of people and the hopes of a cure. The idea is this young lady is immune to the virus and the bites of the zombies, and they are hoping to take this young lady and use her, DNA, her blood, her genetic makeup to create a cure for all of the remaining mankind. But this was going to happen. The only way for this to happen was to delete the young lady. And so the main character of the game, Joel, he does not let this happen. He eradicates an entire hospital staff and group of rebels who are trying to make this happen, called the Fireflies. And that's how game 1 ends. And in game 2, years later, the daughter of one of those hospital staff, of a doctor, a surgeon, comes back and finds Joel years later. And in the beginning of game 2, Joel dies a horrible death at the hands of this young lady named Abby. And game 2 is basically all about revenge. Now, the young lady who was saved in the beginning of at the end of the first game, Ellie is now at a mad hunt to get revenge on Abby, who got revenge in the beginning of the game on Joel for killing her dad. And so one kills the dad. Abby gets revenge on Joel for killing her dad. And now Ellie wants revenge on Abby for killing her surrogate dad, kind of thing. Stepdad, new dad, whatever. And so that is the game. It's a crazy game. There's zombies, there's rebels, there's all this stuff. Great, 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 great game. Number 2 is super long, but very interesting. You get to play as both characters, Abby and Ellie, and see different perspectives of their lives and how revenge has fueled them and different things, yada, yada, yada. And so HBO decided to make a show a couple years ago of this. And in 7 episodes, they sped through number 1. Now, I said years ago when the first season came out that I was very confused because this is a post-apocalyptic show. This is a zombie apocalypse show, and there were barely any zombies. And even here on this very platform, YouTube, people were in the comments kicking my back in, saying that I did not understand the show. I must never have played the games because it's not about zombies. It's about the love of a daughter and her father and their beautiful bond. Yes, that is part of the story. But in the game, there are zombies trying to kill you. The whole fucking game. And you know what? People said I was wrong and people said I was full of shit. Well, fast forward, season 2 has come out. Season 2 just ended on Sunday, I believe it was. And there's a lot more zombies this time. I wonder why. Not only are there more zombies, but there's something that they totally took out of the first season, a specific thing that is all through the game, and it is in season 2. Quote, because fans wanted the spores so badly that we could not continue to leave the spores out of the show. So 1, I was correct. 2, what I assumed at the time that people were going nuts on TikTok and YouTube dissing me, what I assumed was people who were watching this show probably were not people who played the game. Because if I'm telling you that it's a zombie apocalypse and you're telling me, no, it's not, well, then there's something wrong here because a virus breaks out in the beginning of the first game and turns everybody into zombies. And, like Planet of the Apes and everything else in this kind of situation, very few people are able to survive and be immune and yada, yada, yada. All right. And so HBO has looked to improve the things that we are talking about. They have looked to add more zombies and be truer to the game. That was one of the other complaints I had, which is that they changed a lot of things from the game. There was like a 2-episode stretch in the 7 or 6 episode show that had nothing to do with the game. They like took these random characters from the game and decided they were going to give us this life they were going to talk about their life, their love story. It was this beautiful relationship between two men. It was actually probably the best 2 episodes of the series, but they put all of their powers and all of their focus into those 2 episodes, which had shit to do with the game. Were they characters from the game? Yes, but they decided that we needed to know who these people were. Whatever. Fast forward to season 2 finale. I'm gonna pull up a screenshot here for y'all, and I'll try to put it on the screen so y'all can see it, but I'm also gonna read it to y'all. It says here, oh, where's this from? I like to cite my sources. Oh, this is from IGN. They do lots of video game and TV stuff for those who don't know. It says here, The Last of Us Season 2 finale had 3.7 million viewers in the United States, a figure HBO insists, quote, will grow significantly due to low viewing levels over the Memorial Day holiday weekend. It also says viewership was down from the record 8.2 million who tuned into the season 1 finale. Now, I would like to let y'all know that this is also cap. This is also BS. This is a lie because viewership has already been down since season 2 started. It was not only the finale. Viewership has been down. Why? Because I told y'all in the beginning of the second game, the main character dies. Joel dies. And who plays Joel? Anybody in the chat know who plays Joel? He is America's Zaddy. He is America's beloved father right now. Father in quotations. He is Grogu's father. He is Ellie's father. And soon he will be Franklin Richards' father. And anyone guess in the chat who plays the main character in this HBO show? Anybody got a guess? I've given you some clues here. Just give y'all a second to see if anyone's got an idea who plays this character. Dashing D says, I'm thinking. Yes, Dash, yes. Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal is the reason this show is popular because he's a good actor, and right now he's all over television and movies. He's number one. They love him, and that's great. A topic for another time. But if you're watching the show for Pedro Pascal, if you're watching the show for Joel, he dies in the beginning of season 2. Guess what happens? You don't want to watch it anymore. You don't want to watch it anymore. Listen, when I was a young lad, when I was a young warthog, okay, I used to watch Power Rangers. And I remember when I thought they were going to kill Tommy, the Green Ranger. I was a young lad, upset. I was crying. And you know what I said to my parents? I said, I'm not going to watch this anymore. I don't want to see this anymore because they're killing the best character. They're killing my favorite. And I went and got a bag. I'm dramatic. I went and got a bag and started packing up all my Power Ranger toys. I was fed up. I was done. I said, I can't take it no more. That's what's happening today. All of the adult grown-up people who did not play the game didn't know Pedro Pascal was going to die. And so they are watching and they're upset because they didn't know he was going to die. And so the person they tuned in to watch it for no longer exists, only in little flashback tidbits. And so they're upset and they don't want to watch. The other reason they don't want to watch is because HBO has done an abysmal job of casting. They chose someone who looks like a teeny tiny 12-year-old to play this character, which you might could have got away with the first season because it was a young lady. But the second season is like 5 years later. So this person cannot look like they're 12 anymore. This person is a person people don't really know in the TV and movie industry. They're just a person who got the role, but they're not a person who people are going to watch over and over and over again. It's not somebody who's like a lead role kind of person. So now this is the lead character of the show. People don't want to watch that shit. Furthermore, the person who's supposed to be Abby is not a good casting person either. I love the actress they chose for Abby. But in the video games, Abby looks like a stud. One of the twists in the game is that she is actually in love with a man and has a weird love triangle with the man and his wife. Abby looked like a bodybuilder. She's cock diesel, as we used to say when I was a young lad. And in this show, because they got this skinny, scrawny little 12-year-old looking person to play Ellie, they now had to get a skinny, scrawny looking person to play her counterpart, Abby. Neither one of these people are entertaining enough to carry the show. Neither one of these people have enough acting power, enough of a fan base, enough skills to be the leading role. Not that I'm saying they cannot act, but they're not connecting with audiences in that way. So viewership has been down since he died, and viewership will continue to be down. In fact, now Rolling Stone just put out an article that says season 3 of Last of Us will either make or break the show. Is it coming back for a season 3? Yes. They ended season 3 with 2 cliffhangers, which is kind of weird. And I don't know why people are calling them cliffhangers, because if you play the game, once again, you know what happens. Which is why I continue to say, I believe most of the people watching the show, including the people writing these articles, did not play the games. Because it ends where maybe Ellie died, maybe Ellie did not die because Abby shot at her. And oh no, did they kill Ellie? We don't know. We know we played the games. Now, if you didn't play the games, you don't know. And that's why I keep saying, I don't think these people who are watching the show were playing the Last of Us video games. I don't. It doesn't seem like they did. And it doesn't seem like there are enough people who are playing the games, watching the show, because HBO is struggling. Furthermore, last thing I'll say, the writer of the show has come forward and said, actually, we kind of realize now we're going to need 4 seasons to fully tell this story. We thought we could speed through it in 3 seasons. But actually, we now realize we will need a 4th season to fully and properly tell the story. Sorry, HBO. I'm not sorry. And I wish I did this differently. Yeah, I should have done better casting. Yeah, I should have paid more attention. And I will give them credit. I've been watching someone do reviews of the TV show season 2. It seems like he is mad late with America's Zaddy. Yes, he is America's Zaddy. Um, to their credit, they have done a great job from what I have seen in the clips of the review channel I watch to make season 2 a lot more like the video games. There's lots of screenshots that you could put side by side where it is exactly in the show what's happening in the video game. But it may be too little, too late. Let's go to the chat. Dave says never played the game. Dave, it's great, and if you got a PlayStation, you should play it. Great games. Kia, America Zaddy, crying, laughing emojis. Yes, Kia, that's what they call him, America Zaddy. I did not make that up. I don't even use those words. Dash says that's tricky. The writing should be good enough to satisfy both audiences. Yeah, but it also has to do with casting. You have to be able to cast people who can draw in the audience. And Pedro Pascal can do that. But when you killed Pedro Pascal, which is what's supposed to happen, and your audience doesn't know it's supposed to happen, then it gets tricky because you need a strong enough supporting character, a strong enough supporting actor to carry the game, to carry the show on. Sorry. Kia crying, laughing emojis. Emojis. David said the show is cool. Not a fan of how annoying the main character is sometimes. You're talking about Ellie, right? Dave, you're talking about Ellie? Let me know so I can respond properly. Dash says, crying, laughing. I remember he was everywhere when the show first coming out. He's still everywhere. He is who plays the Mandalorian, a very popular Star Wars show, probably the most popular Star Wars content out right now. There's even a movie coming out, and he is going to play the main character in that movie. He also will be playing Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movies. And he's going to be in MCU for quite some time because they have said that the Fantastic Four we are going to be introduced to will be the Fantastic Four of the MCU for the long haul. And then he's got this HBO Last of Us show. So he's everywhere, and most of the relationships you see him in Mandalorian and Grogu, um, Joel and Ellie, and soon Reed Richards and Franklin Richards. It's a dad and kid relationship. And so he is America's favorite dad on TV, I guess. I don't even know, but whatever. They call him America's daddy. Uh, David says, yes, Ellie. Okay, so that is accurate. Ellie is supposed to be an annoying teenager who hates life and also has like almost survivor's remorse situation because Ellie cannot be infected. And so she hates that. First, she's got to keep this secret in the first game, in the first season. She's got to keep this secret, and she hates that she is in this position. She's lost friends and she's still here and all this stuff. She's got like that kind of vibe. And then in season 2, she's like angry at Joel in the beginning before he dies because he revealed to her that he saved her life and killed all the people instead of having the cure happen. And so in the second game, it's kind of like she doesn't have a purpose until Joel dies in the beginning of the game. She's trying to figure out what is life now that my purpose. What up, Tez? I see you, player. Listen, better late than never. You know what I'm saying? Late still counts. I appreciate you, brother. So Ellie is purposeless until Joel dies. She's trying to figure out what is life. My purpose in her brain was to give the world the cure, no matter what she had to do. She would have sacrificed herself, and she's angry at Joel for not letting that happen. So she's kind of just gloomy and has no purpose until Joel dies, and then she's just fueled by revenge and decides that no matter what she has to do, how many people she has to lose, she's going to get revenge for Joel. So that's what happens there, Dave. Um people are annoyed by Ellie, but that's the point. She's supposed to be annoying. Remember, also Ellie is a teenager, right? In the second game, she's a young lady. She's like 18, but she's still a young person trying to figure out life in this weird post-apocalyptic state. So her being annoying in the show is accurate. She's a knucklehead. She's selfish, and she's not really used to a lot of things. Also, in the games, she's new to civilization in the way that Jackson is. Jackson and this huge community that is Jackson, it's not what she's used to. She grew up very isolated, and so she doesn't really understand societal norms, quote unquote, because it's very different. Then there's a lot of things that are just new and weird to her, even in the second game. So all of those things are accurate, actually. But this is a good example of what I'm saying. See, Dave didn't play the games, so Dave is criticizing things that are actually straight from the game, and that's not a bad thing. You just didn't play the games, and so this is what's happening at large with this show. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about Last of Us, their struggles, HBO's fumbles, and also to toot my own horn, toot toot, and say I was right. So everybody who was criticizing me on TikTok and on YouTube, fuck you, man.